The screen door slammed shut like a gunshot, echoing through the empty house as Mom's minivan peeled out of the driveway, tires screeching on the cracked asphalt of Elm Street. I stood frozen in the kitchen, heart pounding, watching the red taillights disappear into the humid Indiana twilight, leaving Matthew and me utterly, terrifyingly alone for the first time in our 22 years. And then, without a word, he crossed the linoleum floor in 3 strides, grabbed my face in his calloused hands, and kissed me, hard, desperate, tasting of forbidden salt and the cherry cola we'd shared all afternoon. That kiss wasn't just a spark. It was a goddamn wildfire, igniting every buried secret we'd tiptoed around since we were kids swapping comic books under the covers. Matthew, my mirror image, my shadow, the other half of the unbreakable duo our small-town Baptist folks had always bragged about, pulled back just enough to whisper against my lips, "Sam, I can't pretend anymore." "Not with you." His voice cracked like thunder, and in that moment, the world I knew shattered into a million jagged pieces, each one slicing deeper than the last. We were the Harper twins, born 5 minutes apart on a sticky July night in 2003, in the heart of flyover country where cornfields stretched like golden oceans and Sunday sermons drilled fear into your bones. Samuel and Matthew, Sam the steady one, the football quarterback who brought home A's and never talked back. Matt the wild card, the artist with charcoal-smudged fingers and a laugh that could charm the devil himself. To the outside world, we were perfect 2 peas in a pod, destined for Purdue or some factory job that paid the bills. But beneath the surface, in the quiet hours when Dad's snores rattled the walls and Mom's church hymns faded to whispers, we'd always shared more than blood. Stolen glances in the locker room after practice, the way his hand lingered on my shoulder during movie nights, the electric hum when our knees brushed under the dinner table. It was innocent then, or so I told myself, until that empty house turned it all upside down. The kiss lingered in the air like smoke after the fire's been doused, heavy and choking. I stumbled back against the fridge, the hum of the ancient appliance vibrating through my spine as I wiped my mouth with the back of my hand. "What the hell, Matt?" My voice came out hoarse. Not angry, not yet, but laced with the kind of confusion that twists your guts. He stood there, chest heaving under his faded Metallica tee, those blue eyes identical to mine, wide with a vulnerability I'd never seen. Not in all the times he'd punched out bullies for calling me Four Eyes in 3rd grade, or when he'd held my hand through Grandma's funeral at 15, whispering dumb jokes to keep me from breaking. "I'm sorry," he said, but he didn't look sorry. His hands flexed at his sides, like he was fighting the urge to reach for me again. "God, Sam, I've wanted to do that since forever. Since that summer at Bible camp when you dove into the lake to save that stupid frog and came up dripping, laughing like the world was yours." He ran a hand through his messy hair, the same cowlick we'd both cursed since childhood. "Our parents are gone for 2 weeks, some revival tour in Tennessee. We're adults now. No more hiding. The word hit like a sucker punch. I'd been hiding too, hadn't I? Buried under layers of straight guy armor. The cheerleader dates that went nowhere, the beers with the team after games, the prayers I'd murmur at night begging God to make the dreams stop. Dreams where it was always Matt's face in the dark, his breath hot on my neck, his body fitting against mine like we were carved from the same stone. But saying it out loud, admitting that the person I craved most was the one I shared DNA with, that was a line even I, the good twin, couldn't cross without feeling the flames of hell lick at my heels. I turned away, Grabbing a beer from the fridge, Dad's Coors, the cheap kind that tasted like regret. The cap twisted off with a hiss, and I took a long pull, letting the cold bitterness slide down my throat. This is fucked up, Matt. We're brothers. Twins. What happens when they come back? When Pastor Reynolds asks why we're not at youth group anymore, my mind raced to the worst. The whispers in the diner, the jobs we'd lose at the auto shop, Mom's Bible-thumping tears turning to disownment. Indiana wasn't San Francisco. It was corn and crosses, where faggot was still a slur tossed like confetti at Friday night lights. He stepped closer, close enough that I could smell the faint soap on his skin from his afternoon shower. Then we fight it. Together. Like always, his fingers brushed my arm. Tentative. Electric. I flinched, but not from disgust, from the jolt that shot straight to my core. Waking parts of me I'd locked away. Sam, look at me. This isn't some phase. It's us. It's always been us. I did look. God help me. I looked. And in his eyes, I saw my own reflection, not the polished version Mom framed on the mantel, but the raw, aching truth. The boy who'd cried with me over our first heartbreak, hers, a girl named Jenny who'd ghosted us both, who'd sketched our faces intertwined in his notebook margins during boring history classes. Matthew wasn't just my brother. He was my anchor, my storm, my everything. And in that empty kitchen, with the clock ticking like a bomb, I let him pull me back in. The second kiss was slower, exploratory, like mapping uncharted territory we both knew by heart. His lips were soft, insistent, parting mine with a gentleness that belied the fire in his touch. My hands found his waist, bunching the fabric of his shirt, and for the first time, I didn't pull away. We moved like that, clumsy, urgent, stumbling through the house we'd grown up in, past the photos of Little League triumphs and family vacations to the Grand Canyon. Up the stairs, creaking under our weight, to the room we still shared because saving money was code for Mom's denial of our growing apart. We collapsed onto my bed, the one with the Star Wars sheets I'd outgrown but never replaced, and the world narrowed to breaths and touches. His hands roamed my chest, tracing the scars from football falls, and I shivered under the reverence in his gaze. "You're beautiful," he murmured, voice thick, and I laughed. A broken, disbelieving sound because no one had ever said that to me. Not with that weight, that hunger. Clothes shed in a tangle, skin on skin, and it was revelation. His body was mine, inverted, the same freckles on our shoulders from childhood summers, the same dip at the small of our back. But where I was tense, coiled like a spring, he was fluid, guiding me with whispers and nips that drew gasps I couldn't stifle. We explored slowly at first, tentative licks and strokes, learning the map of each other like a secret language. Then urgency took over, his mouth on me, hot and unyielding, pulling moans I'd only ever silenced in the shower. I arched, fingers knotted in his hair, whispering his name like a prayer. When he entered me, gentle, prepared with spit and care, it burned, sharp and sweet, a threshold crossed that bound us tighter than blood. We moved in sync, breaths mingling, eyes locked, and in that rhythm, I found home. Not the house on Elm Street, not the fields beyond, but here, in the forbidden heat of my twins' arms. Release came like a wave crashing, leaving us wrecked and whispering, tangled in sheets that smelled of us. Afterward, We lay there, hearts hammering in unison, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars we'd stuck on the ceiling as kids. "What now?" I asked, voice small in the dark. "Now," Matt said, tracing lazy circles on my stomach, "we figure it out. You and me against the world. But the world has a way of fighting back. And ours was just warming up." The next morning dawned sticky and golden, sunlight slanting through the blinds like accusatory fingers. I woke to the smell of bacon frying, Matt's doing, always the early riser with a knack for turning lard into magic. He hummed some old Springsteen tune in the kitchen, spatula in hand, wearing nothing but boxers and that lopsided grin that made my stomach flip. For a heartbeat, felt normal, domestic. Like this was how it was always meant to be, two halves of a whole, cooking breakfast without the weight of secrecy. But normalcy is a fragile illusion, especially when your phone buzzes with a text from Coach Harlan. "Harper, where the hell are you? Practice starts at 6 sharp. Don't make me bench your ass." Reality crashed in like a hangover, sour and insistent. I was still the golden boy of the Southridge High Alumni League, subbing in for injured players, chasing that ghost of glory to keep Dad's pride alive. And Matt, he was the dreamer, sketching murals for the county fair that no one bought, content with odd jobs that paid for his paints and our shared smokes. I padded downstairs, towel slung low on my hips from a quick shower, and leaned against the doorframe. "Smells like heaven," I said, aiming for casual, but my voice dipped low, laced with the memory of last night. He glanced over, eyes sparkling with mischief. "Only the best for my favorite guy." He plated the eggs, sunny side up, just how I liked, and slid it across the Formica counter. Our fingers brushed, and there it was again, that spark, now familiar, dangerous. We ate in companionable silence at first, forks scraping, the radio crooning country ballads about lost loves and open roads. But the questions bubbled up, inevitable as the coffee perking. "What about Jenna?" I asked. Finally. "Is on again. Off again girlfriend from high school. The one who'd stuck around town like a bad habit, waitressing at the Roadhouse and posting Bible verses on Facebook." Matt's fork paused midair. "Over. For good. Last month. After that fight about. You know," he waved vaguely, but I knew. The night he'd come home drunk, ranting about how no girl could ever fill the void, how it was always me in his sketches, blurred but unmistakable. Guilt twisted in my gut. "And me? I've got Sarah from the library. We're supposed to double date with you two this weekend." Sarah, sweet and oblivious, with her cardigans and recommendations for queer lit she'd never suspect I'd read. He set his fork down, jaw tightening. "Then tell her. Or don't." "But Sam, this," he gestured between us, the air thick with unspoken promises. "It's not going away. Not for me." I nodded, but doubt gnawed at the edges. Telling Sarah meant risking the facade, the easy lies that kept the town from prying. And what about us? Twins tangled like this. It wasn't just taboo. It was a grenade with the pin half pulled. The day unfolded in stolen moments. A lazy wrestle on the living room rug that turned heated, his laughter turning to gasps as I pinned him, our bodies aligning in ways that blurred brother and lover. We mowed the lawn side by side, sweat-soaked and shirtless, neighbors waving from porches without a clue. By afternoon, we were in the garage, tools scattered from Dad's endless truck tinkering, and Matt's hands found mine again, pulling me into the shadows behind the workbench. This time was rougher, fueled by the sun's heat and the thrill of almost getting caught misses. Wilkins' voice calling from the fence about borrowed sugar. His mouth on my neck, biting just hard enough to mark, and I stifled a groan against his shoulder, thrusting into his grip with an urgency that left us both shaking. "I love you," he breathed as we caught our breath, foreheads pressed together. "Not like before." "More." "I know," I whispered back, because I felt it too, the shift from familial to something primal, all-consuming. Love, the kind that poets die for, the kind that could destroy us. But destruction has a face, and hers was Jenna's. She showed up that evening unannounced, banging on the door with a six-pack in hand and mascara-streaked cheeks. "Matt, open up. You bastard. I know you're in there." Her voice carried through the screen, shrill and wounded, slicing the domestic haze we'd built. We froze on the couch, half-dressed from an impromptu makeout that had escalated to fingers teasing belts. Matt's face drained of color, and he shot me a panicked look. "Shit. Stay here." He yanked on his shirt and answered, voice pitched casual. "Jenna? What are you? You blocked me. After everything." She shoved past him, eyes wild, landing on me with a glare that could curdle milk. "Oh, Sammy's here too. Perfect." The dynamic duo. "Ha!" I stood, forcing a smile. "Hey, Jen." "Rough day." She ignored me, jabbing a finger at Matt. "You think you can just ghost me? After I gave you everything?" I saw the texts. "Matt, from that guy at the art co-op in Bloomington. Can't wait to paint you nude. Who the fuck is he?" The air sucked out of the room. Matt's mouth opened, closed, fish-like. I felt the blood roar in my ears, piecing it together. The late nights he'd claimed were inspiration sessions. The secretive sketches he'd hide when I walked in. "It's not," Matt started, but Jenna cut him off, hurling the six-pack at his feet. Cans exploded, foam hissing across the floor. "Liar, you're one of those freaks. Gay or whatever." The word landed like a slap, ugly and raw in our family den. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. Silence descended, broken only by the drip of beer. Matt sank onto the stairs, head in hands. "Sam. It's not what you think." But it was. The betrayal stung sharper than the lie, a knife twisting in the fresh wound of our new world. "How long?" I demanded, voice steady despite the quake inside. "A couple months. Casual. Before us. I swear, I ended it when." He trailed off, eyes pleading. "Before us," I echoed, bitter. "Right? Because this," I waved at the mess, at us, "is just another experiment." "No!" He surged up, grabbing my arms. "You're not. You're everything. Please, Sam." I wrenched free, storming upstairs, the door to my room, our room, slamming like an echo of Jenna's exit. Alone in the dark, I curled on the bed, tasting salt that wasn't from sweat. Love, I realized, wasn't just fire. It was ash too, burning hot before it crumbled. That night, sleep evaded us both. I heard him pacing the hall, soft knocks unanswered. By dawn, resolve hardened we couldn't build on ruins. "We need space," I said over cold coffee, avoiding his eyes. "Figure this out separate." His face crumpled, but he nodded. Okay. But I'm not giving up on us. He left for Bloomington that morning, crashing with a buddy from the co-op, leaving me to the empty house and the echo of what-ifs. Days blurred into a monotonous grind. Work at the shop, wrenching engines until my hands bled. Beers at the bar where the guys slapped my back and asked why Matt was being a pussy. I dodged Jenna's glares at the grocery, ignored Mom's check-in calls laced with worry about our brother bond. But absence amplified everything. Texts from Matt. Miss you. Sketching your eyes. Come visit. Lit up my phone like flares in the night. I resisted until week 2, when loneliness clawed deep. The drive to Bloomington was 2 hours of corn-swept highways. Bruce Springsteen blasting Thunder Road, as if he'd written it for me. Chasing dreams down backstreets, hoping they led home. He met me at the door of a dingy loft above a tattoo parlor, paint-splattered and beaming. You came, no questions, just that grin, pulling me into a hug that melted the miles. The co-op was alive with chaos. Canvases leaning like drunken soldiers, artists in overalls debating light and shadow. Matt's corner was a shrine to us. Abstract swirls of blue and gold, faces blurred but achingly familiar. For the upcoming show, he explained. Shy. If you're my muse, I want the world to feel it. Without knowing, we spent the day wandering Bloomington's college streets, hand in pocket to avoid stares, stealing kisses in alleyways scented with coffee and weed. Dinner at a dive bar, greasy burgers and stolen fries. Felt like a date, electric and new. Back at the loft, inhibitions shed like skins. We made love on a futon under string lights, slow and worshipful, erasing the hurt with touches that said forgive without words. I ended it clean, he confessed later, tracing my spine. The guy. Told him I'm taken. By your brother? I teased, but the edge was gone, softened by his warmth. By my soulmate, he corrected, kissing my temple. And damn if it didn't fit. We returned home renewed, the house less empty with our secret humming beneath the surface. Parents due back in days. We played it cool, choreographed normalcy for the rearview mirror of their van. But cracks showed. A lingering gaze at dinner, my foot hooking his under the table during grace. Then the bomb dropped. Jenna, spite incarnate, had talked. Whispers rippled through town like fire through dry grass. Heard the Harper's boys are, unnatural. Dad's face at the shop, thunderous. Mom's prayers turning fervent. Coach benched me without explanation. And Matt, anonymous notes in his mailbox. Freak. Go back to hell. Confrontation came that Friday. Parents home and seething. Dad loomed in the living room, Bible in hand like a weapon. What's this poison I've heard? From Jenna's daddy. No less, says you two are involved. His voice broke on the word, disgust twisting his features. Mom wept silently on the couch, rosary clicking. Boys, please. God's got a plan. This temptation. It's the devil. Matt and I stood shoulder to shoulder, a united front cracking at the seams. It's true, Matt said, voice steady. Surprising even me. We love each other. More than brothers. Dad's face purpled. Love? This ain't love. It's sin. Sodom and Gomorrah. He lunged, but I stepped in, taking the backhand that split my lip. Blood welled, coppery, and Matt roared, shoving Dad back. Touch him again. And we're gone, Matt yelled, the artist unleashing fury. Chaos erupted. Mom's screams, Dad's bellows, us bolting for the stairs amid flying accusations. Locked in our room, backs against the door, we held each other as the storm raged below. Run, Matt whispered. With me. Bloomington. Or farther. California. Maybe. Start over. I nodded, tasting blood and resolve. But running meant leaving everything. The house of memories, the fields that shaped us, the family fracturing in our wake. Betrayal wasn't just Jenna's. It was the town's, the bloodlines, turning love into exile. By midnight, bags packed in the truck bed, we slipped out under cover of stars. The engine growled to life, Elm Street fading in the mirror like a dream turned nightmare. Matt's hand in mine over the gearshift, we headed west, into the unknown American sprawl, highways unspooling like veins, carrying two hearts intertwined. Freedom tasted like dust and possibility, but the road ahead was long, lined with ghosts. Interstate 70 stretched like a silver ribbon under the moon, mile markers ticking off our escape like heartbeats. Matt drove first, windows down, wind whipping our hair into chaos, while I fiddled with the radio, static-laced snippets of Johnny Cash lamenting lost highways, fitting our flight too perfectly. We'd grabbed what mattered. My duffel of clothes and cleats, habit, not hope. His portfolio of sketches wrapped in trash bags against the rain threatening on the horizon. A cooler of PBRs and Mom's leftover meatloaf. No goodbyes. No notes, just the slam of the truck door and the burn of tires on gravel. You scared? Matt asked after an hour, his profile sharp against the dashboard glow. One hand on the wheel, the other laced with mine. Terrified, I admitted, squeezing his fingers. But alive. For the first time, he grinned, that boyish flash that still undid me. That's my Sam. Always the poet when it counts. He cranked the volume on Ring of Fire, and we sang off key, voices raw, the lyrics hitting like prophecy. Love as a burning ring, wild and consuming. We crashed at a motel outside Terre Haute, neon sign flickering vacancy, like a siren's call, paying cash for a double with a lumpy bed and TV static. No pretenses now, we stripped down without shame, bodies familiar as breath. This time was tender, almost reverent. His lips mapping my collarbone, my hands learning the curve of his hip anew. We moved unhurried, drawing out sighs and shudders, climax building like a slow storm until it broke, leaving us slick and sated, curled into each other as rain pattered the roof. Morning brought coffee from a diner where truckers eyed us curiously. Two young guys with matching eyes and no rings, sharing a booth like lovers. East or west? The waitress asked, pouring refills with a wink. West, Matt said, decisive. California. Beaches, rainbows, the whole queer dream. I laughed, but unease stirred. California was a myth, a Hollywood haze where guys like us could walk hand in hand without whispers. But Indiana's shadow clung, Dad's rage, Mom's silent pleas, the town we'd torched in our wake. We pushed on, trading shifts at the wheel, the heartland unfolding in greens and golds. Stops were impulsive, a roadside stand for peach pie in Illinois, sticky sweet on our tongues as we fed each other bites in the cab, a detour through St. Louis for the arch, standing dwarfed by steel, hands brushing as we vowed to build something taller, stronger. By Kansas, Doubts crept in. My phone buzzed with voicemails. Mom's tearful come home. We can pray this away. Dad's gruff don't make me hunt you down. Jenna's text. Hope you're happy. Sinners. I deleted them all, but the weight lingered, a chain around my neck. Matt noticed, pulling over at a gas station under buzzing fluorescence. Talk to me. I leaned against the truck, staring at pump numbers clicking like accusations. What if we can't outrun it? The blood, the Bible, it's in us. He rounded the hood, cupping my face. Then we rewrite it. Our story, not theirs. His kiss was fierce, claiming, and for a moment, the world shrank to his taste, his heat. Utah brought red rock canyons, majestic and indifferent, mirroring our fractured souls. We hiked arches at dawn, boots crunching sandstone, pausing at delicate arch to etch our initials in the dust, S&M, intertwined forever. That night, in a tent under a blanket of stars, we made love with the earth's pulse beneath us, his body arching into mine, cries swallowed by the wind. You're my constant, he gasped, and I believed him, lost in the rhythm of us. Nevada's deserts tested us, heat mirage shimmering, the truck's AC wheezing like an old man. Arguments flared over petty shit, my hogging the AUX chord with Springsteen marathons, his endless sketching that left charcoal on the seats. You're always in your head, I snapped once, after he missed a turn lost in a drawing of my profile. And you're always looking back, he shot back, hurt flashing. At them. At what we lost. We stewed in silence for miles, until a flat tire forced truce. Jacking up the truck under a merciless sun, sweat stinging eyes, our hands brushed in the dirt, and apologies tumbled out. I'm scared we'll break, I confessed, wrench slipping. He wiped my brow, tender. Then we fix it. Every time, California welcomed us with Pacific salt and San Francisco fog. The Golden Gate, a rusted promise arching over waves. We ditched the truck in a Haight-Ashbury lot, crashing on a friend's couch, Matt's old co-op buddy, Leo, a tattooed bear with a laugh like thunder and zero judgment. Twins. Huh? Kinky, he teased, pouring shots of mezcal. Welcome to the family. The city was a revelation. Rainbow flags snapping in the breeze. Couples like us, men with men, women with women, strolling Castro Street without fear. We wandered hand in hand, gawking at murals of Stonewall heroes, stopping for burritos at Taqueria Cancun where the salsa burned as hot as our blushes. Matt's eyes lit like he'd found Mecca, sketching feverishly on napkins. Fog-shrouded alleys, intertwined silhouettes against the bay. But paradise has thorns. Leo's scene was gritty. Underground parties in warehouses where bodies writhed to throbbing bass, drugs passed like candy. Matt dove in, high on the freedom, while I hung back, nursing a beer, watching him dance with strangers, lithe and magnetic. Jealousy gnawed, a green-eyed beast I'd never fed before. One night, at a loft rave pulsing with strobes, it erupted. Matt, buzzed on ecstasy tabs Leo swore were pure love, pulled a lithe artist, Dylan, with piercings and a wicked smile onto the floor. Their bodies moved too close, hands roaming, and something snapped in me. I stormed out into the fog, chest heaving, the city's hum mocking my isolation. He found me on a bench overlooking the bay, hours later, reeking of smoke and regret. Sam. Wait, don't, I snarled, standing. You said I was everything. But here, you're chasing shadows. His face crumpled, tears carving tracks through glitter. It's the rush, the first time I don't have to hide. But you, God, you're my anchor. He reached, and I let him, collapsing into his arms as sobs racked us both. We stumbled back to Leo's, making love in the bathroom, desperate, clawing, reclaiming each other amid the tile's cold echo. Dawn brought clarity. San Francisco was a bandage, not a cure. We needed roots, not revelry. South to LA. Then, chasing Matt's dream of gallery shows, my vague hopes of coaching or mechanics in a queer-friendly suburb. But betrayal lurked in unexpected forms. In a Silver Lake coffee shop, sketching over lattes, Matt's phone lit up dead. We stared, frozen, as he answered on speaker. Matthew James Harper, Dad's voice boomed, gravelly with suppressed fury. Your mother's sick. Heart attack. From the stress you caused. Get home. Now. The line went dead. Matt's face ashen, mine a mirror of dread. We have to go, he whispered. Back east? To the viper's nest? Conflict tore at me. Love for Mom warring with self-preservation. But blood called. Insistent. The drive was hell reversed. Joy soured to silence. Landscapes blurring through tears. Arriving in Indiana under thunderheads, the house loomed like a tomb, porch light flickering welcome or warning. Mom lay pale in her hospital bed, machines beeping softly. Boys, she rasped, eyes fluttering open. My boys, we flanked her, hands clasped over the rail, Dad brooding in the corner like a storm cloud. Forgive us, Matt murmured, and she squeezed weakly, whispering, Love's love. Even if it don't fit the book. Her words, a fragile bridge. Dad grunted, unmoved, but didn't strike. Progress, of sorts. Mom stabilized, but the visit unearthed old wounds. Jenna cornered me at the diner. You poisoned him. Turned my Matt gay, her venom masked pain, and pity stirred betrayal's echo. Worse, whispers of Matt's co-op fling reaching town via Leo's loose lips. That Dylan kid? Posted pics. You two know, a teammate sneered at the shop. Confrontation hit in the garage, Dad's domain. He cornered Matt, wrench in hand like judgment. Heard you been whoring in Cali. Shame on you, dragging Sam down. Matt straightened, defiant. It's not shame. It's truth. Dad swung, the pipe glancing Matt's arm, bruising deep. I tackled him, roaring. Enough! Fists flew, blood on concrete, until cops hauled us apart. Family disturbance. Small-town scandal. Battered. We fled again. Mom's blessing a talisman. Be free. For me. But freedom's price was exile. And as we hit the road once more, I wondered if love could survive the fractures. The Rockies rose like jagged teeth as we fled west again. The truck groaning under the strain of mountain passes and our unspoken fractures. Matt's arm throbbed purple from Dad's blow, a badge of our war, wrapped in gas station ace bandages that smelled of menthol. He drove one-handed, jaw set, while I navigated via a crumpled Rand McNally, tracing routes to nowhere specific. Portland, maybe, with its rainy streets and indie galleries, or Seattle's grunge soul echoing our battered hearts. Silence was our companion at first, heavy as the altitude. She meant it, Matt said finally. over a crackling CB radio crooning Willie Nelson. Mom's words. About love. Yeah, I replied, throat tight. Her frail hand in mine, eyes soft with a grace Dad's sermons never touched. It was the first crack in her armor, a humanistic whisper amid the dogma. Love transcending labels, even if it damned us in the eyes of her God. But cracks spread. In a Wyoming diner, pie cooling untouched, Matt's phone buzzed. Not family, but Dylan. Miss your fire. Loft parties this weekend. Bring the twin, the message, flirty and oblivious, landed like shrapnel. I shoved the phone back. Delete it, he did, but the seed of doubt flowered. Sam, it's nothing. Ancient history. History has a way of repeating, I muttered, paying the bill with shaking hands. Trust, fragile as it was, frayed further. Denver brought a breather. Cousin Tommy, oblivious straight arrow, offered his basement for a week. Heard you two had a falling out with the olds. Crash here. No questions. His wife, Lena, piled us with lasagna and rom-coms, a Norman Rockwell bubble amid our storm. Nights in that basement were sanctuary. Twin air mattresses pushed together, bodies entwining under Afghans knitted by ants we'd disappointed. Matt's touches were apologetic, worshipful. Lips on my bruises, fingers coaxing forgiveness from my skin. I choose you, he'd murmur, entering me slow, our gazes locked in the lamplight, building to a crescendo that left us whispering vows against sweat-damp sheets. Days, we explored the mile-high Red Rocks Amphitheater, where echoes of U2 concerts lingered like ghosts, and Matt sketched the formations, me posing dramatically on boulders, wind tousling our identical hair. For a moment, normalcy returned. Laughter over street tacos, stolen kisses in craft beer bars where bartenders didn't bat an eye. But Portland called, rainy and verdant, a queer haven with food carts steaming under umbrellas. We found a sublet in the Pearl District, a shoebox apartment with exposed brick and a view of the Willamette, rent scraped from my mechanic gigs and Matt's freelance murals. Life settled into rhythm. Mornings tangled in thrift store sheets. His head on my chest as rain pattered. Afternoons at my garage bay. Wrenching Volvos for hipsters who tipped in weed. Evenings at his studio. Watching him transform blank walls into visions of us. Abstract lovers in azure storms. Faces hinted but never shown. Romance bloomed in the mundane. Picnics in Washington Park. Feeding each other marionberries that stained our lips purple. Drives along the coast. Highway 101 curving like a lover's spine. Stopping at Cannon Beach to watch haystacks in the surf. Hands linked as waves crashed confessions. Marry me, Matt joked one twilight. Ring from a saltwater taffy wrapper. I laughed, slipping it on. But the word hung impossible, yet achingly desired. Humanity shone in the community. Voodoo donut runs with Leo, who'd followed west. Pride parades where we marched arm in arm. Rainbows draping our shoulders like blessings. Matt's first show, a co-op pop-up, drew crowds. His pieces selling for hundreds. Whispers of raw emotion masking our story. Yet conflict simmered. My past haunted. Emails from Coach offering redemption if I'd straighten up. Sarah's hesitant "heard you're in Oregon." Happy for you? Guilt gnawed. Had I betrayed her innocence? And Matt's fire drew moths. Admirers at openings. Hands lingering too long. Eyes promising escape from our intensity. The betrayal crested at his solo exhibit in a southeast gallery. fairy lights twinkling like stars over wine glasses. I arrived late, oil-stained from a double shift, to find Matt cornered by a curator, tall, silver fox charming, hand on Matt's elbow as he praised a canvas of entwined forms. Inspirational, the man purred. We should collaborate. Privately, Matt flushed, pulling away, but the seed took. That night, in our bed, his distraction was palpable, kisses mechanical, mind elsewhere. What's wrong? I pressed, tracing his jaw. Nothing. Tired, like sharp as glass. Days later, I found the texts hidden in a Sketch app folder. Innocuous at first, loved your talk. Coffee, then heated, your twins intense. Ever share? Matt's replies, maybe. He's complicated. Rage boiled, hot and volcanic. I confronted him in the studio, phone thrust like evidence. Share? Like I'm a goddamn toy, his face blanched. Sam. No, I was joking. Flirting for the gig. I swear. Lies, I roared, hurling a paintbrush that splattered crimson across his cheek. First the co-op guy. Now this? Am I just the safe bet? The brother you fuck because no one else gets the freak show? Tears streaked his paint-smeared face. You're everything. The pressure, success. Us, it's crushing. I panicked. Panicked into betrayal? The word hung, echoing our family's sins. I stormed out, into Portland's drizzle, wandering bridges until dawn, wrestling demons. Was our love cursed? Incest's shadow dooming us to cycles of hurt? He found me at a 24-hour diner, eyes red-rimmed. Don't leave. Please. We talked for hours, raw, lacerating, peeling back fears. My abandonment terror from Dad's tempers, his imposter syndrome in the art world. Forgiveness came haltingly, sealed with coffee-cold kisses in the booth. But scars lingered. We sought help. A queer therapist in the Hawthorne district. Sessions unpacking twin bonds twisted into taboo. Incest is rare, but love isn't, she said gently. Yours is human, flawed, profound. Her words, a bomb, humanistic in their empathy. Climax brewed that summer, at a coastal retreat for artists. Matt invited me, tagging as inspiration. The cabin overlooked crashing Pacific. Salt air thick with pine. Evenings around bonfires. Stories shared. Survivors of conversion camps. Lost loves reclaimed. One night, under a meteor shower, Matt pulled me to the dunes. Sand cool beneath us. This is it, he said, voice breaking. The peak. Here, we made love fierce and open. Waves symphonizing our cries. Stars witnessing vows. No more secrets. No more running. But fate, cruel dramatist, intervened. A call from Indiana. Mom fading. Cancer hidden behind her stoicism. Come say goodbye, Dad grunted. Voice cracked. We flew back, united, hands clasped through turbulence. The hospital room was sterile hell. Mom skeletal but smiling. My artists, she whispered, clutching our palms. Paint beauty. For me, she passed at dawn, hand in ours, peaceful exhale. Dad broke then, sobbing in the hall. I failed you all. Reconciliation flickered. A nod at the funeral. His Bible set aside for a shared beer on the porch. Back in Portland, grief wove into our tapestry, deepening colors. Matt's mural for a community center. Twins as guardians. Embracing amid storms, earned acclaim, a humanistic ode to fractured families mending. Yet the road's lessons lingered. Love's drama not in grand gestures, but endurance. We adopted a mutt from the shelter, Rusty, all wags and loyalty, our family of 3. One evening, bridge lights twinkling, Matt knelt in our kitchen, taffy ring upgraded to silver. Marry me. Legally, twins or not. Be my forever. Tears blurred. Yes, our wedding small. Castro officiant. Leo toasting with mezcal, was romance incarnate. Vows exchanged under redwoods, rings etched with stars. No tragedy, but growth from ashes. Years on, in a house with a yard for Rusty, we look back. That empty house, that kiss, the catalyst. Betrayal forged strength. Conflict, compassion. In America's vast heart, 2 halves made whole, not despite the blood, but because of it. Human, flawed, eternal. Epilogue whispers in the quiet hours, when Portland's rain taps a lullaby on the roof and Matt's snores rumble soft against my shoulder. 5 years since the dunes, 3 since the vows, and our life unfolds like one of his canvases. Bold strokes of joy slashed with shadows of memory, but always evolving toward light. The house, a fixer-upper in Selwood, with creaky floors and a garden we battle weeds in on Sundays, holds our history. Framed sketches on walls, my tool bench in the garage cluttered with half-repaired bikes for neighborhood kids. Mornings start with coffee brewed strong, black as the doubts we once drowned. Mat pads in, hair tousled, wearing my old Purdue tee that hangs loose on his frame, and presses a kiss to my temple. Morning, handsome, routine, sacred. Workdays diverge. I coach at a rec center now, wrangling teen athletes with a patience Dad never taught, emphasizing heart over scores. Play like you love it, I tell them, echoing Matt's mantra. He thrives in studios, murals blooming across the city, schools, clinics, pride centers, each a testament to resilience. His twin series, subtle nods to us, hangs in a local gallery, titles like Reflected Flame drawing queer pilgrims who sense the undercurrent without knowing the source. Challenges persist, humanistic in their ordinarity. Family ties mend slowly. Dad visits once a year, stiff in khakis, thawing over barbecues where he grills burgers and avoids pronouns. Proud of you boys, he mumbled last summer, beer in hand, a milestone etched in sweat. Mom's grave, under Indiana oaks, we tend with wildflowers her love, our anchor. Betrayals echo faintly. Jenna's apology letter, postmarked years late, forgiven but filed away. Dylan's random like on an old post, ignored. We've learned boundaries. Therapy check-ins keeping the green-eyed beast leashed. Romance reignites in embers. Anniversary getaways to Cannon Beach. Taffy rings renewed. Lazy Sundays sketching nudes. Me posing. Him capturing every line with reverence. Intimacy deepens. No longer frantic but profound. Slow explorations in candlelight. Bodies known as maps. Whispers of I see you amid gasps. Society's arc bends too. Indiana same-sex marriage since 2014. But our story predates. Pioneer tale. We advocate quietly, panels on twin dynamics in queer spaces. Matt's art funding scholarships for rural LGBTQ youth escaping cornfield closets. One crisp fall evening, as leaves swirl like confetti, we walk the Willamette Trail, Rusty tugging the leash. Matt stops, pulling a sketchpad from his satchel. Idea for the nursery, he says. I sparkling. Nursery? My heart stutters. We've talked, fostering, maybe adoption, but the word lands solid. Yeah, I breathe, hand on his belly, though it's flat, our future unborn. He nods, sketching a crib under stars. A kid. Our kid. Teaching them love's shapes messy, unbreakable, tears prick, joy's sharp edge. Twins, I joke, echoing our origin. He laughs, pulling me close. Why not? Double the trouble, double the love. In that moment, the hook of our story, the slam of that door, the kiss that shattered, feels distant, a prologue to this chapter. We've climbed climaxes of rage and release, navigated betrayals like storms, emerged humanistic, flawed men loving fiercely, unapologetically. America, vast and varied, holds space for us now, from Indiana's heartland to Oregon's edge. And in Matt's arms, under a sky bruised purple, I know everything changed that night, for the better. We're the proof, love's wild, redemptive fire,